Welcome to J Show. I'm your host, Jason Silton. I just wanted to say sorry that the other video sort of cut it off. I need to do something, and my phone turned off, and the recording also turned off. It stopped. So, if you want to know the context of what's going on, please look over the previous video before this one. Before we get back into the video, I just want to give you the exact quote about, I think, 0% on something with heaven. Pretty much, this is what Cleveland Street Preacher said, and I quote, "This spot right here," which he's talking about, zero killings. You can watch the video yourself with Mr. Bear, and just his video in general. Mr. Bear should have a link on this video. I do not know that, so don't quote me on that. But you can just type in Cleveland Street Preachers atheist or atheist, either I think kills people or cause school shootings, because I think that is the thumbnail of Cleveland Street Preachers video here. And he says this spot right here, 0 kills. This is called heaven. Yeah, that's where that happens. So he's talking about if America or either America or the entire world was governed by God, it would have 0 killings. And he said that's that's called heaven. So you're implying that heaven's on earth if God had if God had full governmental control over America or the whole world. Okay, I think it's a little bit confused because I thought he was trying to dissect the millennial reign of Christ, but I don't think he is. I mean, okay, this spot right here. This is called heaven. Yeah, that's where that happens. 0 kills. God was governing the whole world. So it sounds like he mistakenly tried to, I guess, dissect the millennial reign of Christ. Because I honestly don't know what, because that's what it sort of sounds like by a biblical perspective. I guess he's saying if God was governed, there would be 0 kills, and that's heaven, which implies heaven on earth, or that's heaven, where there's no kills and God governs that. He does govern heaven, yes, that's true. See, this is a little bit confusing. Is he talking about the millennial reign? Is he trying to dissect that? Or is he just saying what heaven is? Basically, a God governing society where there are 0 kills. Yeah, that's in a sense of a way heaven is in some way. Heaven where Jesus is sitting at the right hand of the Father, that heaven. When Christians die, they go to heaven. That heaven, I think he's trying to say. Is that okay? So I don't think he's talking about the millennial reign. I think he's just saying if if God was in a governing society, there'll be 0 kills, and that will be heaven or heaven on earth. It's a little bit confusing, but let's just jump back into the video, shall we?
God totally, perfectly governing society, and then you're at 0 killings. This spot right here, this is called heaven. Yeah, that's where that happens. Right here. So you're gonna draw the line. Bam. Okay. This spot right here. There's your midway point. Okay. This spot right here, where society's kind of. This is like totally godless. But that's where you wrote 0 killings. You also wrote heaven. So a godless society believes in heaven, and a godless society believes in heaven and has 0 killings.
Hold up, guys. Okay, so according to Mr. Bear, which I think he would know, because he did point out that, the y-axis and the x-axis were the opposite of what Street Preacher Cleveland Street Preachers was doing. Okay, so from what I'm saying, you have a line, then you do sort of like a triangular line going straight down to the million kills, then like a little like thing, like right there, and that's a godless society has zero killings and believes in heaven. Yeah, that makes no sense. I mean, yeah, this is a minor setback. I think Cleveland Street Preachers might have made a little mistake, but if he didn't know or be like, wait a minute, then he could have done this the right way. But he didn't. And this was like, I don't know, maybe 2019 or even 2018, maybe at the latest. So again, people change. Okay, did this, this didn't happen in 2020, but like, I mean, like at least check on your own videos, like most people do when they post videos on YouTube. I do that. Like, you usually try to see your own videos to see what you did right and what you did wrong. Maybe Cleveland Street Preachers doesn't do that. Just I guess we just continue.
Totally believing and obeying God. This is lukewarm. Yeah. Now right here, this line right here. Yeah, right here. This is the moment Joe realizes he should have rehearsed this. This line.
Yes, I agree. Maybe he should have rehearsed it, had a script, like had everything down. Like sometimes, listen, a long time ago when I had other videos, I never upload them because one, they were unscripted, two, I was just doing stuff, and three, I didn't have any evidence to prove my points. Now, those videos are will never see. These are videos you'll see that are, a little bit rehearsed, not necessarily all scripted, but I know what I'm going to say, and I know what I'm doing. I'm not saying Cleveland Street Preachers doesn't know what he's doing here. I get what he's trying to say. In a godless society, there are zero killings, and essentially heavens on earth. I think that's what he's trying to say. But how he did it was wrong. Because, like, there when you did the lukewarm. Okay, so middle ground. Wait. I'm trying to say this. Okay, lukewarm is at the point of zero killings. Like I'm trying to read this, and it's very hard to read. Being honest. Um. So. So lukewarm is like half. Like has a lot of killings, but not that much of killings. Like it doesn't have millions of killings. Like half, and not a lukewarm society has zero killings. I think he's trying to say that. Let's just see what else he has on his, what he's trying to bring.
This line, this is the Christian power line.
Okay.
Yeah. And what this represents is the more the Christians have power, right up here.
Yes.
This is your power.
All right.
Power's
Power
up here.
line. Okay.
Power.
Okay.
Okay. Then the less lives are killed. God has the most power. Zero killings. Wham bam. Okay. Less killings under Christian power. The Christian God Yahweh is responsible for at least 2.3 million deaths in the Bible, and that's not including the death toll of the global flood.
Now, not just by my own Christian beliefs, but by fact, I also have a little chart thing here as well that says the exact opposite, because when you actually look at the context of the Bible, especially in the Old Testament, especially when it sort of says that God destroys stuff or something like that, like the Philistines and countries and stuff like that, tribes and stuff like that, is because they were immoral. Just saying. I think it's just saying killings in general. I don't know if he's saying innocent killings, because most of the time when God did his judgments, they were justifiable he let stuff happen in a sensible way, not actually did it. He didn't commit them. You had to look at the context. Yes, in some cases it might say God like destroyed, but in the right context, it's actually trying to say God let it be destroyed. God let some tribes be extinct because they were immoral, like the Philistines, and some people who were paganists at that time were doing stuff that was morally wrong. So he let them, well, be destroyed. Like God does that. Our God is a moral God. But Satan, through a lot of ideologies that are satanic or antichrist, which is also satanic, would have a lot more deaths, like Hitler. Every Christian agrees that Hitler was not a Christian. He most likely had an antichrist like spirit because he was very, very anti Semitic. And he most likely was, some people say, working for the devil. That's, I won't say debatable, but it just depends of how you view Hitler as a person. I see him as just a very bad person who was most likely working for the devil, who had an antichrist-like spirit because he was very anti-Semitic. And you know that the Antichrist will be very anti-Semitic. It does say that, I think, in Revelations somewhere. It does say that. So with that, that was like what 60. Like Hitler's responsible for over like millions upon millions of deaths, and like 66 million. I think just the Holocaust, or I think it was 16 million. So there's that. And also, if you just read Job, that's a perfect example of what God did in the Old Testament. He didn't really kill people. That's a rare thing. He allowed people to be killed because they broke his laws, in essence, regulation, his moral codes. I mean, it's in Deuteronomy, and this is the Old Testament, not the new one. Remember, the Old Testament dealt with sin more physically. In the New Testament now, what we're supposed to believe now as New Testament believers, as Christians, he deals with sin more spiritually than physically. He doesn't really destroy countries anymore. He judges them, but he doesn't destroy them anymore. Because there's still morality, there's still Christians, there's still people who can be touched by God with moral values today. So there is that. And again, if you look at Job, God let Satan do what he did. The only thing God told Satan not to do is to not kill Job. And Satan went after his family, and I alone now escape to tell you, said, well, the servants of Job's children. I think it was like 7 servants, and we don't know how many people Satan killed at that time. And it's a very complex and emotional debate of what God did to Job was right or not. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm just saying, if you want a legitimate chart, I think this would be it. Okay, if you can't necessarily read it, it says kills from the beginning of time to now. Because the first kill pretty much recorded, like really recorded, was Cain murdering Abel. And that wasn't from God. Everybody agrees that, he might have been used by Satan. And Satan sort of, as a serpent, the whole Adam and Eve story, and Cain and Abel. So, remember, the author of sin, which leads to murder, wages of sin is death, and in general, sin is killing. Sin was founded by Satan. So, therefore, Satan is responsible for a lot of killings, such as depression, all that. And today, with the storms and the floods, and sadly, a lot of people have died from the coronavirus, which I said was from Satan. So if you really think about it, Satan has killed a lot more people than God. pretty much I have here kills from the beginning of time to now. 100% with Satan, being honest, and 1 to pretty much 0%, if you can see that. Guys, this you can sort of see that. I think it's a little bit backwards. So, hold up. I'll give you a little bit of a better view. Okay, it looks a little bit weird, but it'll be okay. I'll change it a little bit. If you can see here, this is my little chart. Kills from the beginning of time to now, Satan 100%, God 1 to pretty much 0%. Which would make sense because, again, God himself doesn't kill. Oh, wait, hold up. Okay, we're back to normal. Anyways, Satan does. Sorry, no, not Satan. Satan definitely kills, but God himself doesn't really kill in the Old Testament or New. There's maybe some occasions because, again, they might have done something immoral or disobey God's laws to where death was essentially the only option. I'm not really that much for the death penalty, but I'm just saying in some cases, some people sadly might have to take the death penalty. I'm not going to get into that because I know that's an emotional debate. I'm not going to get into that. But I'm just saying, by fact, biblical fact, and that's biblical fact alone, ideologies such as Nazism, which is from Satan, and others like communism and stuff like that, would revive to millions upon millions of deaths in general. So at the end of the day, that chart, being honest, is blatantly false. Like, blatantly false. Like, seriously. Just, if you just look at the Bible at face value and not get into more context of it through research or having a study Bible, which I do have, you would see that no, God does not kill, which is right, God does not really kill, he allows justified killings. Like I told you guys, Satan is the one that kills, murders, steals, kills, destroys, murders. We've seen that from a lot of disgusting people who are most likely used by Satan. Again, that's just the Bible alone. Okay? Just outside, you can just, think about it. I mean, we look at the context of the Old Testament and New Testament and God in the Bible, you can see he would rather not let people get destroyed. He would rather want to save them. That is a fact in general. So I gotta admit, this chart is biased. Well, not biased, but just I don't think that's right. I don't think that was a good chart, Mr. Bear. But we can disagree with that, but we could totally agree that Cleveland Street Preachers should have rehearsed in a lot of things. And I should have done some things too. Okay, some cases I oops or all that, it gets recorded and all. And in general, so I have my mistakes, but I say I'll get better, and I feel like I have been getting better. Yeah, God bless and have a great day.